Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Happy full moon in Pisces. Beautiful water energy, emotion energy, connecting us back in with that divine feminine within, the one who is courageous and powerful enough to see sensitivity and emotions as strength and empowerment and not merely a weakness or anything close to it. But our society has led us in that direction for some time. So this Pisces full moon is really reminding us how important our emotions are and how important it is to learn how to communicate with an awareness of our emotions as well, so that we're speaking what we have to speak with a balanced energy of mind and heart. So taking into consideration our emotions and also bringing that into a holistic perspective before we speak out of reaction. So we're responding, we're listening, and we're really in tune with ourselves and what we need to speak in terms of what our heart and our emotions are connecting us with. So that was one of the themes for the channel that I was thinking about before this reading. It's really saying what you have to say, but learning how to say it in a way that is kind and gentle and nurturing, and embodying of your boundaries and your commitments to yourself, as well as this kind of fluctuating energy of taking on a new identity and learning more about yourself in a new way. So as we are changing, transforming, learning how to transform our communication and transform how we perceive ourselves and others based on this language of emotion or how we communicate. This full moon seems to be really, really potent. I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but I've certainly got my crystals and gemstones outside ready to be charged. So it was last night and tonight that the full moon is at its most potent. And put out some water to be charged by the full moon as well. And this is a good time for releasing, but I feel that it really has to be very gentle because there's so much going on. I haven't been sleeping well for the past couple nights, and it's been a little while since a full moon affected me in this way. So this one it's packing a lot of power. And I believe what we're being invited to do as well is facing deeper truths within ourselves. So you might have been hearing the message or the synchronicity that we would be finding out truth, discovering truth. Well, a lot of what that truth is all about is about what's within you. So deeper truths about yourself, deeper truths about your innate gifts, your identity, your ability to serve others. And so we're really, really spiraling deep, deep, deep down into the truth of ourselves. You may feel like you're connecting with your guides a lot more, especially tonight, in the last couple nights, and in your dreamscape. So a lot of messages coming through, a lot of psychic information coming through. So please be open and aware of that energy and try to ground yourself as much as possible. It's also a time, and this one's going to resonate with a few, and it just kind of popped up on my radar today, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. This concept of the nurturing feminine versus like the rainbow feminine. And the rainbow feminine being that wild feminine who may raise children, but in fact, she is still this independent, wild creature. And I'm not saying that the nurturing feminine isn't, but the nurturing feminine is more akin to the giving feminine, where she is okay in that role and she really devotes herself to that role. She doesn't feel, bound or restricted by that mothering role, whereas the rainbow woman or man might feel a little bit restricted by that role. And so it's kind of this energy of honoring the rainbow feminine, honoring that feminine who dances with creativity, who is a muse and who finds muses everywhere and is constantly thriving or looking for ways to thrive as the wild version of herself. And when I'm talking about herself, this can be for a masculine as well. It's the feminine within you. So the rainbow feminine within you. And so honoring this aspect, if that is you, and many of my tribe, many of my clients are rainbow feminines. So you are creators, you are entrepreneurs, and you're seeking ways in which you can illuminate and bring your light to the world in a way that you are passionate about. And so it serves everyone, it serves you, and it serves the universe and the collective at large. So really honoring that wildness about you over this full moon, honoring what that has cost you as well. What sacrifices have you had to make in order to retain your wildness, so to speak? And honoring the nurturing woman as well. But right now we are focused on that rainbow warrior woman. And so really looking at the sacrifices you've made, really embracing those deeper truths about yourself and allowing yourself to begin to harness your creative energy again, to begin kind of stoking that ember, that flame within you, looking at that as a priority, looking at your health as a priority, checking in with yourself on a body scan level. Where are your thoughts at? How is your mindscape doing? Where is your body? Do you have acid reflux? Do you have gas? Are you feeling really grounded, or are you feeling very spacey and like you can't get your footing? Really tap into what you're feeling. What is your body trying to tell you? What is your body asking you for at this time? Is it asking for more sleep, more water? Hi, Kathy. How you doing? Just check in with yourself tonight and over the next week. Really prioritize your health. Really take the time, if you can, to get in some personal space to do yoga, to do meditation, to go for a forest walk or a beach walk, to journal, whatever takes you back to you, whether it's reading a book, you could be singing, whatever takes you back to that most authentic inner space where you feel free and where you feel revitalized. I invite you to connect in with that part of yourself. Definitely, I was saying this weekend, I was thinking I was doing a Saturday reading, but all this week. So definitely touch in with that nurturing aspect. And another thing that I wanted to touch on before I move into the reading is some of you might be feeling really stubborn right now and kind of like really wanting, like you're the horse, but you're still stuck behind the gate. And there's a countdown, but you have no idea where you are in the countdown. So it's not like you are aware 3, 2, 1. You don't know when you're going to need to like gear up and go. And so one of the things that was brought to my attention was that your circumstances or the situation don't necessarily need to change, but your thoughts and your perceptions about where you are do. So we have this like concrete, immobile situation or teaching happening right now that's strong, that's anchored, that's grounded. You might want to change it, but you can't. So this is something that you do not have the power to change. It could be you're working with somebody you want to communicate with, could be a business partner, it could be a family member, romance partner. But the universe and spirit is asking you how can you change your perception? How can you change your thoughts at this time to better situate yourself in a place of peace? So if you can't change the situation, how can you adapt and change your thoughts and your perceptions to give yourself some ease and peace of mind? And it was just 10-10 on the counter there. So if that's a special shout out to someone, there you are. So really empowering yourself even when you feel disempowered. So you might feel disempowered in the situation, but you can empower yourself by changing your thoughts. So taking a step back and getting into that garden, that thought garden, and doing some weeding and taking out what you don't need to be in there right now. And this is a great time, full moon, to release some of those negative thoughts or reoccurring patterns that you might get into, which revolve around attachment or control. And that also connects into loving those pieces of ourselves that aren't quite there yet, or still are a work in progress, or are more in the fool energy versus the master energy. So continue to love yourself even when you can't tap into that warmth around you. So that unconditional love is always there. And there's all of this support from the universe, support from our guides, support from our past over loved ones. But sometimes we can feel really disconnected from that. And so really trying your best to continue loving yourself through those feelings of despondency, or through those feelings of situational depression, or it could simply be the overwhelm of this shift happening in the cosmos and this beautiful full moon in Pisces. And so there's also this changing of the month. We're entering September, and you know, we have the end of the year coming, this huge year, 2020, which has been quite the ride, right? So letting pieces of our past go with some compassion and warmth, and allowing ourselves to believe that there is something better for us and that we can create something better for ourselves. And with those two thoughts combined, there's co-creation, and we're working together. So those are the messages that I have for you in terms of any channeling, synchronicities, energies that I wanted to bring through, so that I can maybe provide you with a little reassurance if you're feeling the same, or giving you a little bit of insight into maybe what's going on beneath the surface. And we do have a really heavy hitter coming up in terms of Mars going retrograde. So you might be feeling that as well, if that's somewhere very potent in your chart. So as an Aries, I definitely am feeling that. And so it might be worthwhile to take a peek into someone with knowledge in that regard, and kind of just assess and take a look at some of those postings in terms of how it might influence you, or how you can best roll with that energy. So once again, you guys, welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here, welcome back. If you're returning, glad to see you. Thanks, Kathy, for joining. Feel free to comment, you guys, if you want to say hi. At the end of the readings, usually I'll do private card pulls. So usually we'll just do like a single card draw if you are wanting that. So just to let you know. And you can also find me at Kindred Heart Tarot on Facebook. And there is a PayPal link. You can make donations if you wish. You don't have to, but it is greatly appreciated. And I'm going to be working on some new decks. So a few of you already know I did create my first deck. And I'm going to be doing some more because I'm kind of stoked about that. So I will update you on that when the time comes. But just know I'm kind of excited. All right. And nails again, just the tips by Jen. It was super cool. We went with a matte blue and a marble white and blue. So this is super awesome. All right. Self-care. So guys, I can feel it. There's a lot stored. So there's a lot that needs to be said. So I think this week we might find ourselves really having to utilize that peacefulness. We might have to dig deep because we need to communicate what we really need to say from the most authentic, truthful, honest place within us, instead of reacting, instead of going tit for tat. Like, we really need to be aware that this has been a long time coming. And so we might have some really powerful communications coming through this week. Some that you may have been waiting for. But again, we can't have any attachments to this. So it's kind of just going with the flow in terms of when the situation arises, when you need to speak your truth, you must speak your truth, or else you're going to have a lot of built up energy. And with Mars going retrograde, that might come out in ways that you don't really want. So if you hold it in too long, it's going to shoot out like a top, maybe not in the greatest of time. So make sure that if a situation arises, you have the ability to speak your truth in that moment. So let's get into the past position for our Tarot Tuesday. Ooh, this is beautiful. We have Elk Nobility. Celebrate your accomplishments with humility. You are crowned with success. Powerful forces guide you, and your ability to conquer challenges is limitless. So the people watching right now, you have tenacity, you have perseverance, and no matter how many times you find yourself, going through a challenge or staring at a mountain, you have the ability to move through it. The elk also, when it says you're crowned with success, well, you're also very connected to the spiritual realm. And so this crowning, this connection to the spiritual realm also will help you greatly this week in particular to know when to speak, when not to speak, when to say yes to an invitation, when to say no, if a job opportunity is a good opportunity or not. Like, we're really moving into some powerful, potent decision making. And so it's really integral that we allow this guidance to come through, that we are receptive to this guidance and the help and support that is coming through for us at this time. So just remembering, you are a warrior, and your ability to find solutions to issues, challenges, problems, you have them. It may take time, but you have them. So if you're feeling impatient, remember the regalness of yourself and the situation. Okay? Celebrate your accomplishments with humility, and also be very gentle with yourself for what you perceive to be failures at this time. So if you're really focusing on that, start to shift your focus on what your accomplishments have been or are, and how you can build on those. So from where you are right now, how can you build on those accomplishments? Okay. So much energy. It's like I have to take a really deep breath every time I go to the next card. And this one is to clarify that one, which is interesting because elk can be pretty fierce. So we have the protection card. What's interesting is it's kind of like an eclipse of a full moon, it looks like. Call back your power, cut the cord, soul retrieval. So you might also feel a little bit of darkness in the energies at this time. You might have had some dreams that are kind of strange, or you might have felt like something come through in a dream that was a little bit uncomfortable for you. You could have warnings coming through. I have sensed this over the past couple days, and that there is this kind of underlying current of a darker energy. And now, when we talk about these energies, I've really been delving deep into the concept of fear and how we navigate fear. And so if we are coming to a place where, okay, we can feel there's a density, there's something, whether it's in the collective, whether it's associated with us, with a thought form we've created, or a situation that we are entangled in, could be quantum entanglement, so karma that's not quite finished, but our soul can feel it, and we feel a little bit constrained or confined by it. Well, really what we've learned about working with shadows and working with light is that you have to face your fears. You have to look into your fears, whether it's a fear of being alone, whether it's a fear of abandonment, or, simpler fears of, people lurking outside of your house or something. So you get good locks, or you install a motion light or something like that. But, facing your fears and doing what you can to address them, and then moving forward courageously. So this is talking about energetic protection. So it's saying at this time, there's a lot of energies. I think how I could best describe it as in chaos. And so, if you think about a light, so if you're a little light bulb, boom, and you're shining your light and you're working on this, you're doing your light work, you're doing your shadow work, and you're digging deeper, you're honoring the rhythms, the cycles, you are putting out a beacon. And now people will find your beacon who are tribe and like-minded and will honor you, will respect you. But also, sometimes this is the perfect time for the little mischievous energies to try and kind of push you off your game a little bit. And so look at it kind of like with coyote medicine. Coyote can be a very mischievous trickster like medicine or energy, but it can also be very, very positive if you look at the positive attributes of it. Working together as a team, being very resourceful, etc. And learning to not take things so seriously. So that might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but you can disempower some of these energies, entities, by not feeding into them. Rather, you feed back into yourself and you cut the cord or you cut the attachment that maybe a negative thought form created. So if you've been down on yourself lately, you can go cancel, clear, delete. I send myself love. I clear all energies, in all directions of time. And you can go further with these things. I'm just doing a very basic, beginner's level shout out for that energy protection. But you can, and I'm sure many of you have heard of cutting cords. Well, you can do that, and you don't have to be afraid of cutting any cords that aren't meant to be cut, because those cords would be cords of love. You're not going to be able to cut those anyways. So if you want to do a cord cutting ceremony, or even, make an intention tonight on the full moon just to release any energies or entities that no longer serve you and send them, back to light with love, or just surround them with love. And then release, let go. And you can call back any parts of yourself too, because sometimes we can get fragmented in situations, relationships, and at any time we want to, because we are fully empowered to do so. We can call back any fragments or energetic pieces of ourselves that we unknowingly or subconsciously allowed by giving our power away to move away from us. So you can call those back. You can also visualize like you are a magnet for every beautiful piece of yourself that was ever taken without your permission or your knowing, and you can call it back to you with really powerful, beautiful love and appreciation for your integrity and your strength. So let's get into the final clarity for that. Oh, hello. So Spirit is saying that this is actually, in fact, connected to karma. So it says, so we see here karma, this beautiful little fairy. Karma is a universal teacher sending forth lessons from past and present. So what I'm seeing here is, this protection is a safety precaution as we're at a crossroads of timelines and really letting go and releasing old karma from past lifetimes. Like, you might have a pattern or an issue that you don't understand why it's really affecting you in this lifetime, because you don't have any recollection or conscious knowledge of this being an issue for you. But you might be working on lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson in this, karmic balance. And it is from a different lifetime. And so you really need to get in touch with your intuitive self, your guides, God, spirit, archangels, whatever is comfortable for you, and release what is yours to release and embrace what is yours to embrace in terms of karmic balance. Okay? You might feel this really deeply right now because we have some very powerful soul bonds. And if you've been watching my channel, you do know that I've talked about these soul bonds a couple times in the last few months. There are very powerful soul bonds. If they're not in your life right now, they are on the sidelines and they're rip-roaring ready to go. So you're calibrating so that you, like, the entry point is the highest and best for a win-win situation, right? And that's what we call divine timing, or worth waiting for. But just know that there might be some karmic situations unfolding and playing out as we go through this week, and or have just gone through in the past, which is why we might have felt a little bit more tired or disappointed, or like, what's happening, this confusion. So this confusion should release and we should be getting clarity soon. I don't want to make any promises, obviously, because the timelines have been really jumpy, but if you can focus, again, like with that elk medicine, celebrating your accomplishments, being humble, knowing that you are already successful, allowing your guides to help you, and knowing that you can conquer and move through challenges, it will help you with this energy protection and karmic balance or karmic release. So pretty heavy energies for that past line there. Let's see what we have for the present. Ooh, Orca Whale. So we have adventure. Dare to do things differently. Sing your wild song. Manifest your travel dreams. Attempt the great journey with confidence. Be loyal. Loyalty's come up a few times for me personally. Friends and family are your treasures. So if you're, okay, they're like, finish the card, Mollie. Be brave. You are more powerful than you know. So if you're looking at the dark side of things right now, I've been doing this too. Like, this is what I don't have. Look at this. You want me to do this, and this is what I have to work off. Right? Feeling a very sassy right now. Very sassy. Anyways. But Spirit is asking you to be willing to try things a little differently. Be open to things going a little different than you expect or anticipate. So it's kind of like that wild card in, if you're playing cards and get that joker, you're like, yeah. So kind of trying to be excited for that in your actual life. Like, you got a wild card, and we don't really like that because we like control. We like the known. We want to know what's going on. Now, clearly, we have had this major lesson in being blind, using our intuition, and moving forward when we have no fucking clue what's happening. So this is a very powerful, powerful animal. And it does talk about the Akashic Records. If you are knowledgeable in that, it is kind of like the book of life and or the book of shadows, in terms of it having everything past, present, and future stored in kind of a galactic record, so to speak, that some people are very gifted in accessing. So if you have past life regression, some people will tap into the Akashic Records. And now the orca and the whale are keepers of the Akashic Records. So they're very, very powerful, very, very, this is elder medicine here. So we're being guided by the elders right now, because that's how potent a intergalactic dimensional time frame we are in. And I do feel like, even though it doesn't seem like it, there will be some travel soon. You might be invited to go to a conference. There might be a retreat that comes up for, say, like 2021, 2022. Could even be this year, maybe shorter travel this year, but there will be travel, and your heart's going to call you to certain places now that are more in alignment with a spiritual journey. And so pay attention to those if you, in your dreams, go to visit a jungle or a desert, and kind of take stock and think about what that might mean for you in terms of where you might be traveling as your future self. So in terms of loyalty, be loyal to yourself first and foremost. But also, I believe this card is really reminding us with the friends and family are your treasures, is to honor those that are honoring you in your life right now. You might have people that you want to spend more time with. You might be calling in tribe. You might be calling in soulmate, whatever it is for you that you are calling in. However, Spirit is asking you to be grateful for those people that you have in your life right now and who are there for you, and to lean on them if you have to, because you don't know exactly who might be able to give you the wisest words or encouragement or support at this time. So really being brave and accepting your power in this. So the first one was about accepting our nobility, and this one is accepting our power and being open to adventure. So this is a really awesome card for right now that we're going through. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? And this is an interesting one too, because I was talking about the karma, and when you shine really brightly, it attracts some of the negative energies as well. And when I talk about negative energies, I could be meaning someone who's gossiping about you as well, or someone that just, is operating from their ego more than their spiritual or evolved self. So where are you shying away from adventure? Where are you shying away from being powerful and stepping into and acknowledging the innate gifts and wisdom that you have already? So if you're feeling limited or like you don't have what you need to move forward, really take a second look at that and ask yourself where you're making excuses for yourself and where you can actually show up and shine even brighter than before. Like, where are your limitations? I was just looking on Facebook the other night, and a friend had posted about her business and how she, in the beginning, was terrified of doing an online business or going to pitch herself in terms of shop owners selling her product in stores, and how she really had to push herself and motivate herself. And just eventually, after doing that over and over and over, now, it's not a big deal anymore. And so really looking at ourselves and, having celebrated our accomplishments, having trust in ourselves that we can protect ourselves and have efficient and effective boundaries, that karma is taking care of itself, that's a natural cyclical flow, and that we can do things differently. We don't have to dim as much as we did before because things are shaking loose. This is a new energy that we are stepping into, and so we don't have to continue to conform like we used to. So what we're really talking about is ourselves holding ourselves back. Where are we still holding ourselves back based on thoughts or programming that we really don't need anymore? So taking a second look at this present energy and the need for approval as well. So where do you need to give yourself approval right now instead of looking for it outside of yourself? That's another great one, because when we're thinking about the Akashic records and how powerful whales are and the wisdom that they have and the dances that they do, we don't ever look at them and think, oh, how lame. What a loser. We don't have that type of energy towards these magnificent creatures, and yet we are those magnificent creatures as well. You have a lot to share. You have a lot to express. You have a lot to create. And it could also be resting as well. But I feel like most of the viewers are going to be coming into this energy of creation. You do have to find the balance of rest and create. So you can't really create on nothing. So if you have achieved that balance of rest and knowing self-care, you're going to have a really great time coming up here when those creative energies are really supporting you and you're just going with the thermals. You're like, okay, this is what all of that challenging hard work has been for. I'm ready for this. So to clarify that, we have rejuvenation. Perfect. This is exactly what I was talking about. Rejuvenating the spirit will spark the desire to experience the greatness in life, okay? So many of us, our fires are a little dim. And I was also talking about this before too. Like it's time to maybe visualize that little fire and flame within us and really, really attend to and nurture and start to bring through some energy, start to bring through some movement, some motion, and start to stoke that fire and bring it more air, more light within yourself so you can start to feel what it feels like again to be engaged, to be excited, to be part of instead of separate from or isolated from. So this rejuvenating energy and this spark, desire, experience, greatness, adventure. So when you it would be like how we feel about captive whales, right? So they only have enough space to just kind of swim around and do nothing. Whereas the wild, free whale is on an adventure. So we want to be that wild, free whale. We want to be on our own adventure. And so if we are mentally caged in, if we're mentally focused on what has been over the past couple months with COVID, with personal journeying, personal initiations, then you might really have a hard time switching gears, like the gear is getting stuck. If someone says, hey, do you want to go to the Yucatan? I've got your ticket covered. And you're like, is this actually happening? Like, what's the catch? Are you going to go that route? Or are you going to go, yes, that would be amazing. This is a fantastic opportunity. I'm in. I'm up for the adventure. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. So really taking into consideration showing your true self, shining your energy, not being fearful of that, and what's going to come of that. So if you are an artist and you truly shine and someone says, hey, I'd like to feature your art in my gallery. Yes, you're ready for that. So really looking at what you are ready for instead of what you're not good enough in or whatnot, right? What are you ready for? Where are you going to be leveling up in terms of how you can provide just by being you? So your inherent worthiness, your inherent value is going to be highlighted some way this week, most likely, but in the next couple months, definitely. And you're going to have a choice whether to say yes and shine and go on an adventure, or you might feel a little bit stuck or feel like, no, you have to stay in a karmic loop or a karmic cycle. Well, no, it's okay. You can break those karmic cycles and patterns, and it's perfectly acceptable to move forward in your full power. So let's see what we have for the future. Hopefully this is resonating with you guys because it's pretty powerful energies right now. Definitely a lot of throat chakra energy. So if you have blue stones, lapis lazuli, or any just blue items, blue calcite, that would help you communicate or just do some work on your throat chakra. You could even use turquoise. Actually, I'm getting that even the green, like malachite here, the deep greens, you can also use on that throat chakra right now, because we're also trying to connect the throat and the heart. So if you haven't already had that connected, you can focus on the throat and the heart chakra connecting. But there's also this energy of the third eye and the throat connecting. So you're probably either going to be in one or the other, the one camp or the other, in terms of which pairing is happening. And so you'll gravitate towards the stones that would be most helpful for you. But really thinking about how you communicate and how the universe is communicating with you right now. So tonight, maybe releasing blocks in communication. I release blocks in communication. I communicate with integrity. I communicate with loyalty. Whatever you want to bring forth as an intention for this full moon to release. So, what do we have in store for us coming up? Let's find out. Yes! The bee community. I love it. And what's it? Okay, we'll go back to the elk in a minute. It says, you are a powerful creator. Your work blesses everything you touch. Be open to receiving sweetness. You are the queen of abundance. This is fire energy. This is muse energy. This is community working together, passion, collaboration. This is nectar. This is sweetness. This is joy, right? The honey of life. So really allowing yourself to think about this as a real possibility again, because it's been a little bit of a dark year. And so part of our minds might be going, well, no, I'm actually not going to believe in that, because that means if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be really pissed, or I'm going to be really disappointed, and that might send me into the negative downward spiral, etc. Allow yourself to take that risk and go, okay, well, what's it going to hurt if I focus on the positive? If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If I were to focus on it negatively, it would either happen or not happen too, but this time I'm actually going to focus positively. So allow yourself to believe that good things are coming and that you're going to be working with people who are going to help you thrive and support you. But not only that, you're going to be supporting them, or you're going to be supporting someone else. It's really going to be balance. It's going to be balance and harmony. So this is a beautiful achievement here that we have moved forward through with nobility, with adventure, protecting ourselves, having strong boundaries, also not dimming to fit in, and knowing how to rejuvenate ourselves and ignite that spark again. Not necessarily waiting for an outside force to come and spark it within us. So you are the queen of abundance as well. You are a very strong creator. So just remembering your power in terms of manifesting and alchemy. So creating what you want. It might be time to go back to the drawing board and put down a couple things that you would like to do, even if they're small things, a little trip, a course, could be a tattoo, could be drawing, could be picking up a hobby, could be volunteering. Just think about what you would like to do and how you would like to invest your time to be more into the energy of community and teamwork. And one of the interesting things that popped into my mind was with animal totem medicine of the elk. Elk, usually they'll stay with their sexes, so the males will kind of all congregate together and the females will all congregate together until it's time for mating season, which I find very interesting because it talks about this independence that we've been working on. It talks about the independence of the masculine, the independence of the feminine, but a softening of the two. So a real embracing of the receptivity of the feminine within both of them. And so we're coming from that elk, that nobility, but humble. So not the tyrant, not in the ego fully. It's like we do need to be strong and powerful and protect. But at the same time, we know how to relax. We know how to invite. We know how to receive. And so it's interesting that we go from that in the past position with the karma and the cutting cords to this energy of community and light. And so you might be seeing the sun card in the tarot a lot if you are pulling tarot for yourself, because it does talk about this community. It talks about this light. Also, the Three of Cups, celebration, celebrating community, because we all have felt that disturbance. And some of us might be reveling in it, but I think we've all felt that disconnect or disturbance in being so isolated and disconnected from each other, and so much going on that feeds, being separate and apart from each other, and really wanting to embrace that unity energy. And so really focusing on that instead of what we can't accomplish or what we can't be. And so to clarify that, we have the inner temple, devotion. Devotion is also a key. I'm going to write that down. So devotion is a key here that's come up multiple times for me in the past week. Tune into the portal of your heart. So your heart knows something that your ego doesn't. So your ego might want to take a certain route here, but your heart knows something. Your intuition knows something that your mind just can't touch. Okay, so it might not feel super straightforward, but if you were thinking about saying something sharp to someone or cutting someone off, but you're not really like in that loving energy, a warm energy, make sure you get into your heart and your spirit energy before you go there. Because if you're going to go there and your heart is like, yeah, baby, we're going there, this is the best for you, this is devotion to yourself, then that's the way you go. But if not, if you're sabotaging or stirring the pot because you don't know any better, or you're still in a cycle from the past, then you're going to be able to actually pivot and step away from that. So we're taking back our power in these situations, which is really, really beautiful. So devotion to yourself this week, and coming up in September, really looking at it as a month to devote to self-care, to devote some time to yourself, some energy to your spiritual health. That's going to be really, really beautiful, because when you take care of yourself, you're taking care of the community. So really looking at your part of the interwoven whole. Great happiness. Happiness is an overall state of complete being. And, it's no surprise here. Let me read that again. Happiness is an overall state of complete being. This is our future position. And it's reminding us to be in the present. So we don't want to look too far forward into the future. We really want to be very present with what comes into our experience at this time, whether it's communication, whether it's a person, an opportunity, an animal, whatever it is for you. We want to be fully embodied, fully aware, fully present for these decisions and these moments of opportunity or blessings, change, or opportunities for adventure and community. So moving, I feel, collectively from, I'm going to do this all on my own, these are my goals, no one else can really touch this, or if I sacrifice this, I'll never make it as an artist, or I'll never make it as this. But really honoring that rainbow woman once again within us, knowing that we can be wild and we can also be practical, and learning to bridge that gap, learning to embody both so that we can be passionate, we can be independent, we can be free, but we can also be practical. We can be secure, we can be stable, we can have that strong foundation. So really merging and bringing these beautiful energies together as sacred medicine. And I have to admit, I love seeing the bee cards and community cards, but I do feel like the universe is talking about blessings. Understand first and foremost that you are a blessing, and you don't know who you're a blessing to, but you are a blessing to our community. So really sit in the sweetness of that. And then take a moment to think about those who you really appreciate in the community at large, but also within your smaller circle. And just maybe even give out some thanks this week. Be like, hey, I really appreciate what you do for the community. Or I really, am grateful for what you did with this family, or how you look after my child, or, when you reached out to me, etc. Like, maybe put out a little bit of gratitude and thanks for those who are making an impact on your being right now. And if you'd like to connect more with others, start opening up your energy so that if you have had some volatile energies, or the energy of leave me alone, I want to be on my own, if you have had those energies, then it's a really good time to go, okay, I'm gonna soften up a little bit. It's okay for me to be vulnerable and protected. And I'm going to allow people to come into my life again, or new situations to come into my life. Really getting ready to receive the new as we continue to release the old. So that's almost it, guys. I have one more card to go over, and then I'll do a couple personal cards. So I'm just going to have a sip here, but if you're interested in a private card, just put yes, please in the comments, say hello, and I will pull a private card for you. I don't have a second camera set up so that you guys can see what I've got going on here, but I have an awesome little altar going on here. I got my seashells and stones and everything. So if you feel called to do so, go ahead and play. Do a little ceremony for yourself, full moon ceremony. I might go out there and drum a little bit tonight. So here is, hello, our card from Shirley Harnish. She's Canadian as well. Return of Spirit deck. Caretaker. So we've got the solar plexus, the root, and the sacral chakra. Now, if these chakras are blocked, you'll have some trouble manifesting things into 3D. And so that could be a lot of what we're releasing and clearing right now, so that our best intentions are actually met with that co-creation, that community energy, and that it can actually sprout and develop and thrive, instead of kind of getting stuck in the idea sphere. So it would be like a painter who just never paints, right? So let me take a look here. I've definitely gotten this card before in my life, and it's beautiful. It's just a reminder. So here we are. You are an endless giver. If anyone has a need or requires assistance in any way, you are right there to help. Essentially, you are an earth angel. Every life you touch is made better, whether you know it or not. Blessing. Your heart is big, and the support and love you give is even bigger. You are one of the souls who are here to either nurture the world or the people in it. However, there comes a time when we have to consider our own needs over others. And this has been a lot of what this whole year has been, or this past 2 years or couple years cycle, where we over prioritized other people and we gave ourselves away a little too much. And so we're really coming to learning and understanding what it means to put yourself first, and how much better that is, because there's no resentment created over other people. So we have to make our own well-being a priority, even if that means it may not please others. You have to come first right now, although it may feel as though it is going against your every nature to do so. It is vital that you put yourself first. Your physical and emotional well-being needs to be nurtured and maintained. This ensures that when you do give to someone else, what you give has substance. So it's not attached to receiving something in return. And if you're full within yourself when you're giving, you're much less likely to be in that energy of resentment if you don't get back what you anticipated. You are a beautiful, we got to go back one sec here. Maybe this is the time you finally say no or create a boundary. In some way, it is time to give to yourself and restore balance in your life. You are a beautiful soul with much to give, and a beautiful soul who deserves to receive. If there is something you need, or if you could use a little assistance, Spirit is encouraging you to allow others the opportunity to give to you. Community. You can receive community support. If you have to, you go to the food bank. If you have to, you say yes to someone inviting you over for dinner. If you have to, you invite someone over for dinner who you think might be a little lonely. Now, it depends on what your thoughts are on COVID, etc., but use your creative skills here. There's a lot of ways you can, implement teamwork and community energy. So, you know from your own experience how good it feels to give, so now you need to give the ultimate gift and allow someone else to give to you. It is time for you to receive, okay? This is really not a time for anybody that resonates as an overgiver to be focused on giving, all right? So it's really, really important that you focus on receiving. Okay, so focus on receiving and or being receptive. If that's the most comfortable and the best that you can kind of muster right now, then just open yourself up to being receptive to energies coming your way. So, all right, let's see. I think, I kind of feel like using the Return of Spirit deck here, even though the little booklet's falling apart, but let's see what we've got. Okay, so Kathy, let's do yours first. All right. This message is for Kathy, for her highest and best. What does Kathy's higher self want her to know at this time to help her on her journey? Ooh, that one. Okay. Manifest. I know we've received this one in other readings, but this is really a time for you to focus on what you want to manifest and what you want to create in your life. And so if you've kind of been, with the status quo and not really dreaming for yourself, it's time to start dreaming again and connecting in with what might make you excited about either travel or about a community project or a project that you would like as an offering to the community so that your energy is revitalized or rejuvenated, but definitely an energy of manifestation and also inviting you to continue to be a part of that flow and hold space for the energies that are coming in and grounding. So I do feel like you have a very grounding energy that assists in all the light codes that are coming through right now. And so continuing to stay grounded, but also allowing yourself to dream. So that one is for you, Kathy. And Stacy, let's see what messages want to come through. So this is for Stacy, for her highest and best on her journey right now. What's her higher self want her to know? Came through really easy for you too. Innocence. I think we had that one last week maybe. This one is beautiful, soft pink and yellows. This is really about love, heart, chakra energy, but also empowerment. So maybe coming through energies of power loss and coming back to yourself, but also recognizing that state of innocence. If you had been feeling guilty or looking back at anything in your life really that you felt regret or shame for, and just remembering that you were so beautiful and pure and innocent even within that, and that you do have this new opportunity to move forward at this time. So yeah, it's also talking here about worthiness. Like, what if I had done more? What if I hadn't done that? What if I said this or that? Really questioning yourself and digging back up and rooting through things of the past. And it's asking you to see yourself as perfect and that your imperfections are still part of your perfection. So it also says this card may also come if it is time to see the innocence in another person. So you might not know. There might be, differing factors or confusion around a person or a situation right now where you're not really sure how to judge it in terms of temperance and judgment, fair judgment, truth. And so it says it's important to delve below the surface of any feelings of anger, hurt, or disappointment. So really connecting into your heart, as I was talking about before. So this is a secondary reminder for you. Before you talk to anybody this week or have any important conversations, it's really important for you to make sure you're tapped in and tuned into your heart space so that you know you're responding and you're taking your time. Even if you have to say, I've heard you and I'm listening and I need some time to think and I'd love to continue this conversation tomorrow or in an hour. So really taking up that space or saying, no, I don't want to have this conversation now. I'm going to take some time to get in touch with my truth. And then I'm going to come back to you and then we can discuss this. So really, really paying attention to your body and what you need to say and just making sure that it is attached and connected to the heart so that you're coming from a place of love and understanding and peace within yourself. Also a place of worthiness, if that's something that you've been working on, really standing in your power. So learning to communicate with the heart, but also standing in your power and knowing what is humility and nobility versus, purposely hurting someone or just being cold and calculated. So we know we can do that. We know we can send out the zingers. But because we have cleared a lot of karma, this is an invitation to do it better, to communicate better than we have before. So this is going to be a new experience. We're all going to be learning how to communicate differently. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. But just remember, guys, let's focus on this happiness, this state of being. So really, really focusing on our completeness, focusing on the community, the whole, instead of just the little parts. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you'd like to support me and help my channel grow, those thumbs up, that will help the channel grow. So any likes, any subscriptions, of course, help the channel grow, which is greatly appreciated. And once again, you can find me at Facebook, Kindred Heart Tarot. And I'm also offering guidance counseling now. So I offer that under Mollie Kindred. And you can also find me over on Facebook at Mollie Kindred if you didn't know that. And these guidance counseling sessions are just really about you and what you need to talk about, what you need to discuss. And of course, I will be tapping into my intuition and my ability to assist you as an act of service. I've priced these at a really reasonable rate, $65 for an hour. So 2-hour session would be $130. So I feel like that's really fair. If you guys are interested in doing that, you could book a session with me. You can send me a message at Mollie Kindred or Kindred Heart, whichever you like. But if you feel like you need to talk to someone, I'm definitely here for that, as a guidance counselor would be. And I've got that intuitive flair too. So hopefully we would be able to get to the root of what's going on for you and find some clarity. So once again, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a good evening. Happy full moon in Pisces. Remember that is a water sign, so there will be a lot of emotions happening. Listen to your dreams, pay attention, and we'll catch you next time. Ciao for now. Bye.